Hi all. Now we are going to learn about taxonomy. So we'll be explaining taxonomy and taxonomic aids. Taxonomy is the science of identifying, naming, and classifying organisms, right? So classification is done using external features, internal structure, cell organization, developmental process, and ecological information. So we'll be discussing that in detail. Okay. Let's start from the classification. Okay, the taxonomic categories. So all living organisms are arranged in different levels called taxonomic categories, right? So these categories together form the taxonomic hierarchy. The hierarchy starts from kingdom and ends at species. So the categories are external structure, internal structure, cell structure, development process, and ecological information. So external structure means physical form, appearance, appendages, and the surface features. And what about internal structure? It includes anatomy, organ system, skeletal framework, and tissue organization. And in cell structure, we include whether it is prokaryotic or eukaryotic cell or cell wall composition, organelles, and the nucleus. And in development process, we check embryology, growth stages, life cycles, and reproductive strategies. And in ecological information, we check habitat, niche behavior, and diet, and interactions within ecosystems. Okay, so let's see the hierarchy. So the taxation hierarchy includes kingdom, division or phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. As we move downward, the organism become more closely related. Okay. So a taxonomic category represents a specific rank in classification hierarchy. Together, these nested categories form complete taxonomic hierarchy. So as we mentioned, as we come to the bottom, they will have more things in common. They will be closely related. Okay, so we start from kingdom and we end at species. Now let's check for species and genus. So what is species? Species are the basic unit of classification, right? Organisms in species resemble each other and can interbreed to produce fertile offspring. For example, mango belongs to the species Mangifera indica, right? So this is how species look like. This is the example. So species is the smallest and basic unit of classification. Organisms resemble each other, interbreed freely, and produce fertile offspring. Okay. And what is genus? Genus is a group of closely related species sharing common characteristics and ancestry. For example, lion and tiger. Okay, so even though they don't look alike, they have some similarities, right? So a genus is a group of closely related species, right? Members share common characteristics and ancestry. Okay, now let's check family, order, and class. What is a family? A family consists of one or more related genera. Members of a family shares many common features, right? For example, the family of Solanaceae include genera like Solanium, Bethania, and Tetrabrum. Okay, so that is what we mentioned by family. Clear? So this is what we explained right now. Okay, so family is a group of related genera showing common features. Clear? And what is an order? An order is formed by grouping related families together. For example, the families of Felidae and Canidae are included in the order Carnivora, right? So the examples are order Carnivora. So we have Felidae and the Canidae. So order is a group of related families. These are related families. Okay. And what is class? So class contain one or more related orders. So family is a group of related members, right? And order carries related families. And in class, it carries related orders. So for example, we can take the class Dicotyledon, right? Include many dicot plant orders. So a group of related orders. Clear? Now let's see what is phylum. division, and kingdom. Okay. So what is division and phylum? We can use division or phylum, right? So the term division is used for plants, while phylum is used for animals. So whenever you are mentioning the kingdom of Animalia, that is for all animals, we'll be using the term phylum. And whenever you are explaining the kingdom Plantae, that is for all plants, we'll be using the term division. Okay. So these categories contain one or more classes. For example, phylum Chordata includes mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. Okay. And what is kingdom? So basically, kingdom is the highest taxonomic category, right? It is the highest taxonomic category. All plants belong to the kingdom Plantae, and while all animals belong to kingdom Animalia. So kingdom represents the highest taxonomic category. Just beneath it, nomenclature split, phylum is strictly used for animals, while division contains one or more classes of plants. Okay. So this is the complete lineage in practice. Okay. So Animalia, Chordata, that is group of mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, etc. And then we are taking for Mammalia. Okay. It is nested within the Chordata. And then Carnivora, then Felidae, then Panthera, then Leo. Coming to the specific species. Okay. So taxonomic aids, right? This is how we name the creature. Now let's see the taxonomic aids. So taxonomic aids are tools and techniques used in the identification and classification of organisms. Important taxonomic aids include Herbarium, Botanical Gardens, Museum, Zoological Park, and Keys. Okay, so this is how we can explain it. So living collections for flora will be Botanical Garden, preserved will be Herbarium. For fauna, that is animals, living collections will be in Zoological Park, and preserved specimens will be in museums. Okay. And what is Herbarium? Herbarium is a collection of dried and pressed plant specimens mounted on sheets. Each sheet contains details such as scientific name, family, place of collection, and collector's name. And botanical gardens are specialized gardens where living plants are grown for study and identification. Each plant is labeled with its scientific name and family. Famous examples include Kew Garden in London and the Indian Botanical Garden in Kolkata. Okay. Then we have museums, right? So basically, museums are biological museums that preserve plants and animals. Specimen for educational and research purpose. Specimens are stored in jars with preservatives or as dried sample. Insects are preserved in insect boxes. Okay, cool. And what are zoological parks? Zoological parks are the places where wild animals are kept in protected environment, right? Under human care. These parks help us study the behavior and food habits of animals. Clear? Then we have the museums, right? Herbarium and the museums. We have already discussed that. This is how we preserve it. Okay. All the records will be there. And these are the example for gardens and the zoos. Okay. So now let's see the taxonomic key. So a taxonomic key is an identification tool based on contrasting characteristics. It helps scientists identify organisms step by step. Each statement in this key is called a lead. So it is a tool used purely for identifying organisms based on contrasting characters, right? So we'll have an unknown organism. We will take a contrasting character lead A and lead B. Okay, and by further studies, we will find the organism. So keys use dichotomous statement called a lead before a binary choice. So separate dedicated keys are required for each category level, like species, genus, family, etc. Got it? So this is a taxonomic ecosystem. Okay, we'll have an unknown specimen. We'll use the taxonomic aids and we'll use the taxonomic key and we will find the taxonomic hierarchy. Okay. This is how whenever we found a new animal or species, etc., we will arrange them in the proper categories. So biological classification is an interconnected system, right? Organisms are preserved or observed in taxonomic aids. Analyzed through dichotomous leads of taxonomic keys and ultimately assign their correct rank within universal hierarchy. So in conclusion, taxonomy helps us organize and study the vast diversity of living organisms. Taxonomic aids make identification and classification easier and more accurate. Thanks for listening.